Dear fellow students, welcome to E-Pathashala. I am Dr. Tahira from Gandhigram Rural Institute, going to take a module of E-lesson on inventory control. Inventory control, in simple words, is simply stocking of food materials in a food service institution. Not only food materials, it can be stocking of any goods that is in operation in a food service institution. In general, when we say the word inventory, it means record or record maintenance. So inventory control is very important for any food service institution to move towards its profit or to attain its goal. Once inventory control is not proper, then overstocking or understocking of goods can be done, and this may lead to a loss to the institute. So inventory control, we have to see that the stock is being controlled in a proper manner. So we have many methods of controlling the inventory and ways of controlling inventory, and there are modern methods like barcodes and RFID tags, which are very common and which we would have been seeing that in big malls or supermarkets, how they control the inventory. Days have gone by stacking or writing notes in big ledgers and journals for maintenance of inventory. So now we will see in detail what this inventory control refers to and how it's being carried out in a food service institution. The learning objectives of this module are: understand the term inventory control in food service system, know the various types and advantages and disadvantages of inventory control system, factors affecting inventory control system. What is inventory control? So this is a very common term, inventory. We would have all heard what inventory is. Simply, in a very simple literal meaning, is record keeping. Then you call it as an inventory. So that is what is called as inventory, simply record maintenance. Now let us see what is a control, a technical meaning of inventory control. The practice of ensuring the apt quantity of stock to be kept by a food service institution so as to meet customer requirement or demand without any delay, and at the same time keeping the cost related with holding stock to minimum. So this is called as inventory control. As I told, it is simply record maintenance. So now when you add the word control to it, it means that it is a practice of ensuring the right or the appropriate quantity to be stocked in a food service institution. So at the same, while we are going to hold the appropriate amount here, it without any delay, and the same time keeping the cost related with holding stock to the minimum. We are not overstocking it or understacking. We are going to have a apt or the appropriate amount of stock that has to be maintained for the running of a food service, smooth functioning of a food service institution. Control. Inventory control is nothing but stock maintenance. It can be broadly defined as an activity of checking a shop's stock. So this is called as inventory control. In a very more simpler manner, we can say it is defined as an activity of checking a shop's stock. So inventory control includes the regulating and maximizing a company's stock. The goal of inventory control is to maximize profit with minimum inventory investment without affecting customer satisfaction levels. In other words, inventory control ensures that stock available at any given time. So then this is called as inventory control. Now let's see what is the origin of inventory control. To make it more precise, inventory control can be referred to as in operations management, logistics and supply chain management. The technological system and the programmed software is necessary for managing inventory. So in big institutions and very large institutions appointed or recruited for this inventory control system. So it is something like logistic and supply chain management or they have a lot of technological system is also coming up with a programmed software that helps in managing inventory. If we go into big malls, we can find that magnetic tags and all that, which is an example of the programmed softwares and technology advancement in inventory control. In economics and operation management, the inventory control problem which aims to reduce the overhead cost without hurting sales. So this also is another way of reducing the overhead cost once we have a proper inventory control. So basically 3 simple questions can be raised in the supply chain: when, where and how much. So this is what the inventory control system does. So when to stock, where to stock and how much to stock the goods in a warehouse. So let's go to the next topic: why this inventory control is needed. What is the significance of inventory control in a food service institution? Maybe a hotel or a housekeeping department or a hospitality department, wherever it be. Let's see what is the need for this inventory control. So this inventory control is to maintain the stock or to meet customer demand. That is the first. It controls the amount of stock on the shelf or in the stock room. To keep an inventory of the products issued to different departments, also we need an inventory control. Or simply we can't just give all the requirements that are stated or a requisition given by the different departments. We cannot issue the products. So once you have an inventory, it helps to keep the data or the information of what product is being issued to whom the product has been issued. Then avoid overstocking or understocking of raw materials. So this inventory control will help us to appropriate stock maintenance. We will not be getting more number of products or more quantity of products and stocking it, and when it goes waste it has to be discarded. Or understocking will not affect the smooth workflow in any production area. So inventory control helps us to exactly what quantity of goods are required and will avoid overstocking and understocking. To segregate and stock high value and low value goods. So this is highly needed in many of the institutes. A simple example why we need to segregate goods is important because the cost component plays there. Then once the high value goods are being used and not properly maintained or stocked, the management may go into loss. Very simple example is of just in a food product, food ingredient, storing of cashews, walnuts, pistas is of high value goods. We have to stock it separately and it has to be properly secured. Other fats that are being used or certain essence that are being used, which are sometimes very costly. Another example is your saffron, which is costly, which has to be maintained and it has to be stocked separately. So stock has to be segregated and it should be stocked as high value and low value goods. So this inventory is very, very essential. Next, to provide prompt services to all the units or departments concerned. So whenever some department is some goods, immediately the supply has to be done. In a food service institution, we cannot wait for the next day or the next week for an ingredient to arrive, because food service it's not a stored service. We have to finish the service on the day. So the product has to be available in time for the personnel to do the service. So it has to be prompt services to all units or departments concerned. Then to keep record of inventory issued to various departments in a food service institution. So whatever, that was the first, because whatever we issue, it has to be recorded. Only then financial management of the company can be maintained. So this is about the factors or the points that we have to take into mind, that why inventory control is needed. So next we'll see about the modern inventory control systems. So we have a barcoding system, radio frequency identification tags, which are used to provide automatic identification of inventory objects. So these are used for high value goods. And now in most of the supermarkets also we have this barcoding and radio frequency identification tags, which helps us to ease out the work of inventory, record stock maintenance. Inventory objects could include any kind of physical asset, merchandise, consumables, fixed assets, circulating tools, library books, or capital equipment called as an inventory object. To record an inventory transaction, the system uses a barcode scanner or RFID, that is radio frequency identification, to automatically identify the inventory object and then collect additional information from the operators via mobile computers and etc. So these are the modern inventory control system that are present, which says goodbye to the old stacking method, writing records, maintaining ledgers and all that. So now next is the type of inventory control system. What are the different inventory control systems in practice? So one is called as ABC, the next is 2-bin method, 3-bin method, fixed order quantity, fixed period ordering, just in time, and vendor managed inventory. So these are the different types of inventory control system that is being practiced in different organizations or in food service management institutes. So now first we will see what is this ABC method. It's a common method used across industries. So this is one of an inventory classification technique wherein products are classified based on the sales contribution and importance of the same in their assortment plan. So in this ABC method, what they actually do here is they categorize the products as into A category products, B category product, and C category product. The categorization is done based on the amount, the value of the product. Now let's see what is this A category products. This will be the maximum grosses in sale and flagship products with higher margin. Then you call them as an A category products, a product that is of maximum in sales, and they are the flagship products with a higher margin. The profit they receive from these selling these products will be very high. Usually the top 20% products in the assortment contributing to 80% of the total sales are classified under A category, where tight control on inventory is required to ensure no loss in sales. So then you call these products as A category products, and 20% products contributing to 80% of sales is known as 80 to 20 rule or Pareto principle. So this is called as A category products. The products in this category are called flagship products, which gives them a higher profit margin. The next is C category products, which are bottom of the line, contributing to less to sales. They contribute very less and they are in the bottom of the sales line, and then you call them as C category products. These items are marginally important for business and kept only for the sole purpose of customer requirement. They don't give them enough profit or the high profit products or high value products. They are marginally important for the business and are kept only for sole purpose of customer requirement. Next is the B category products. They are important to the retailer but are less important compared to A category products. When they are giving in wholesale, such products will be stored as B category products, and they are more important to the retail products than the wholesale products, and then they call it as A category products. So this is how ABC method. They have 3 category of products. The products are grouped or classified on the sales contribution and the importance of the same in their assortment plan. Maybe depending upon the profit margin or high value goods will be categorized as A, C and B. Next is 2-bin method. So it's one of the simplest method commonly used warehousing, where items are stored at 2 locations or bins in a warehouse, and when the stock is depleted in the first bin, the stock in the second bin will be utilized. The required quantity to be filled in the second bin is placed for ordering. So this is called as a 2-bin method. A very simple understanding we can have on this. Usually in warehouses where large amount of products or commodities are stored, they'll have it in 2 locations, maybe in one in a main and the other one in the store. So otherwise they may have bins, different types of bins they may have. So the stock in the first bin will be depleted, and then once the first bin is completely depleted, the second bin will be used. The required quantity to be filled in the second bin is placed for ordering. 3-bin method is also similar to 2-bin method, where it's called as Kanban system is being followed. It is a Japanese technique called as Kanban system. The supplier will not produce a raw material for the manufacturer until the reserve bin is emptied. So this is called as 3-bin method. So in this 2-bin and 3-bin method, we can see some pictures like how this 2-bin and 3-bin methods are. So in this picture, in a 2-bin method, you can see that there is a supplier, there is a reserve bin A, main bin, reserve bin B, and main bin A. In both these bins, the products are there. So from the main bin for the distribution center, it will be taken, and then once that has been replenished, from the reserve bin, the items will be added. Once the reserve bin is getting emptied, immediately it will be a purchase order to the supplier. So this is called as 2-bin method. When it comes to 3-bin method, it is something like this. We have main bin A, reserve bin B, supplier bin C. When it comes to the main bin A, it is in the shop floor, it is in the main area, and reserve bin is kept at the back, and the supplier bin is, so once from the main bin it has been sent to the distribution center. From the distribution center, it will be taken to the store and other places. Once it gets replenished, when the load is completely closed, then from the reserve bin it will be taken. From the reserve bin, when the reserve bin is empty, the fixed order quantity purchase order will be given to the supplier. So the manufacturer in this 3-bin method, what he does is, the manufacturer does not produce further product until the order is being placed. So when there is, the commodity gets reduced in the reserve bin, it will be taken from the supplier bin. Once the goods are taken from the supplier bin, it will be intimated to the supplier for production of more or manufacture of the products. So this is called as 3-bin method. So fixed order quantity. The next method is fixed order quantity. It is used to avoid confusion while making a new order. Only a fixed quantity can be ordered at one time for the item. This type of ordering is usually used in auto refilling of goods, where an auto reordering point is set in system, and when the product inventory level hits the reordering point or the stock levels, an order is placed to the maximum stocking capacity of the product. That is called as fixed order quantity. So there is no confusion in ordering, whether the first bin is ready completed or the second completed, no confusion. So only a fixed quantity will be ordered for the first time. The reordering will be done depending upon the amount of foods that has been reduced in the bin, or in the how much of the amount is being reduced. So once there is an auto refill property in it, so once the amount is being reduced, the auto reordering point is set in system. So once that is being alarmed, immediately the product can be ordered and maximum stocking capacity can be done. This is fixed order quantity. The next type is just in minute. So just in minute is commonly called as JIT, inventory system, which exposes the unwanted or the dead inventory held by the retailer or manufacturer. So in this, wanted stocking of products is being avoided in this method. The products are sold in time and the cost of inventory maintenance is less. That is ideal for manufacturing organizations, and it is not used in retail industry in general. So it is not ideal for manufacturing organizations, not for retail industries. Only in wholesale they will be using it. As soon the product comes, the product may be in sale. Such type of inventory is called as just in time. When it is arrived, immediately the product will be sold to the retailers, and it is mostly done by the wholesale industries. So it is not used by the retail industries in general. This is called as just in time. The next is vendor managed inventory. In vendor managed inventory, the retailer provides a shop floor place and the vendor is charged a consignment rate on every product sold at the location. So in vendor managed inventory, the retailer provides the space for sales and the vendor will be charged for the consignment, how much ever the product he is going to sell. For every product that is being sold at his location, the vendor will be charged for this. The ownership of the items from receiving to the sales and in any loss during the stacking period will be borne by the supplier. So this is another method called as inventory. So the vendor takes the floor space, shop floor space, and he everything, and the sales is being done. So anything wrong in the will be borne by the supplier and not the retailer. Inventory control, which is being practiced in many of the food service institutions or firms. So next is factors affecting inventory control system. What are the factors that affect the inventory control system? One is product time, the next one is product cost, the next one is lead time. So let's see what is product time. The type of product greatly influences the inventory control policies assigned to manage the product. So what type of product we are going to store? Inventory control policies. For example, products with short shelf life such as perishable foods require a different policy than non-perishables. Short lifespan products must be rotated based on expiry date. So depending upon the product type, the inventory control policies are different. So we cannot order a large quantity of perishable foods and store it because they may get expired or not be fit for consumption. So short shelf life products must be rotated based on the expiry date. Next is depending on the product cost. In food service institutes employ additional inventory control policies for high value goods. For example, many warehouses keep expensive raw materials or machines in secured cages. Only few warehouses personnel who is in charge can have an access to these products. Then those products, such type of inventory control is also maintained depending upon the cost of the product. So as I told you earlier, maybe the nuts, the spices, the condiments which are very costly will not be used. In some industries for certain preparations are very costly, so those items will be kept in a secured place and only few personnel will be allowed to handle it. So depending upon the product cost, the inventory control policies also differ. Along with having the products stacked in a secured manner, most companies require signature from the authorized personnel before they to this high value products and are moved from one location within a facility to another. Certain equipments are also kept in secured places and they will be stacked in those places. So this is about the product cost and how the inventory control policies differ depending upon the product cost. Next is the lead time. Lead time is a major factor that affects inventory control policies. In the product lead time, the time from receipt of an order to the time of delivery. So depending upon that also control policies will differ. So if for example, most of the retailers of potato and cereal snacks, they don't get the product from for example, you take Chennai, they don't get the product from Chennai, but those potato products and cereal snacks are made in Uttar Pradesh. So when in this case they start making snacks in Chennai, the retailers could order from its supplier and have it delivered within hours or days rather than ordering it from Uttar Pradesh and taking maybe 1 or 2 days or maybe a week's time to bring it. So the lead time is the receipt of an order or the time of delivery of a product. So the short lead time reduced the amount of inventory and the retailer needed because he could get more within a fairly short notice. So this is about the lead time. So depending upon the product cost, depending upon the lead time and product type, the inventory policies differ in different institutions. Next is let's see about the advantages and disadvantages of an inventory system. Stock control systems ensure that stocks are available in shelves and can identify stock availability and can spot out the stock which got over. It avoids shortage of materials and duplicate ordering. If there is too much stock, it ties up the company's money, and money that might be better spent on other administrative work or advertising or personnel a better pay for his skill, or the better facilities that are available can be given for the customers. One simple example: if too much of stock store up, especially perishable products, it might not sell and would have to be discarded. So inventory control helps industry to identify the stock availability and can spot out the stock which has got over and the shortage of materials, and it can even overcome duplicate ordering. So this few advantages of inventory control. Once we are finished with the E module on inventory control, let us now summarize what we learned and what we have seen. So inventory control system is to ensure that stock that is available is to meet the consumer's demand. It also eliminates excessive stock and it minimizes the risk of loss and ensures smooth production operations by maintaining reasonable stocks of materials. Thus, a good inventory management not only saves money but also saves time. So in the whole E module, we'll just have a small recap of what we saw. So we saw what is inventory, what is inventory control system, and what are the methods of inventory control, and like ABC method, 2-bin method, 3-bin method, vendor manage method. So these are the different ways of managing the inventories in different food service operations which are in practice. Apart from that, what are the advantages of maintaining an inventory? So once we maintain a good inventory system, as we have mentioned here, that it also eliminates excessive stock and minimizes the risk of loss, and it ensures a very smooth functioning of an food service institution. So inventory control saves money as well as time in a big way.